Hey everyone, welcome to this tutorial where I will teach you how to add Google Login to your Node.js application using Passport.js. By the end of this video, you will know how to set up authentication using Google and allow users to log in to your app securely with their Google accounts. So let's break it down step by step and we will start from scratch. So before we jump into coding, let's quickly go over the tools we will be using today. So first we use Node.js, which is the environment we will use to run JavaScript code on our server. If you don't have Node.js installed, you can download it from the official website, which is nodejs.org. Okay. So next which we use is Express.js, which is a framework for Node.js that helps us manage routes, requests, responses. So it makes building server-side application really easy. The third which we are using is Passport.js. So it is a popular library that helps with user authentication. We will be using its Google OAuth2 strategy to handle Google logins. And next we use is Express Session. This is used to manage user sessions. When users log in, we need to keep track of their session across multiple requests. And next we use .env, which is a simple module that allows us to keep our sensitive information like API keys out of our code. And not last is OAuth2 is the protocol that lets user log in their Google accounts. Google will handle the authentication for us and we will use it to securely manage user logins. Now that you know what we will be using, let's start by setting out our project. So we have to go inside the terminal and type cd desktop as we want our project on the desktop. Now we need to create the project. For that we write the command mkdir. Let's take the name of our project auth. Now we have to go inside this auth folder. Okay. Now we need to write the command npm init-y. This command creates a package.json file that keeps tracks of all the dependencies we will be installing. So let's open the folder, which is auth. We have to open this folder in VS Code. Okay. Now as you see, we have the package.json file here. And we need to install some dependencies that will show here in this file. So let's open the terminal. And we will install, write the command npm install. First we install is Express, which helps us build the server. Second we will install is Passport, which will handle the authentication. Third is Passport Google OAuth2. So this is the Google strategy for Passport, which we use in our code. And the next is Express Session, which you manage user sessions. Okay. And the last one we need is .env file, which manages the environment variable. So let's press the enter to install all these dependencies. So we got the node module folder, which holds all the files which we need in our project. So let's create the file index.js where all the code will go. So let's start writing our server code. Inside this index.js file, we need to type require.env.config. This will load environment variables from .env file. So for that reason, we need to create the file .env. we will store all the client ID, client secret, or all the tokens inside .env file because these all are credential data. So now we need to import const express require express to create the server. Second we import is passport for the authentication purpose. Then we import session which from express session. So this will import session management. Now we have to import Google strategy which we already installed. So we have to require it as passport Google OAuth2 Strategy. So here we are importing all the tools we installed. Notice that we are using .env to load environment variables right at the start. So I already explained you why I import .env file here because we used all the credentials. Now, next we will set up the session. Before creating the session, we have to initialize our Express app. Okay, so that we can configure our Express server. Now we will create the session management. For that, we will use the middleware app.use session from Express session. Inside this, we will create the secret key to encrypt sessions. So let's create the secret. You can write anything you want. For now, I'm just writing the secret. The second key value is resave. We will take it default as false because we want to avoid resaving sessions if nothing has changed. And the last is save uninitialized. We will also take it as default. So it will save new empty session. Okay. So our session is created. Now we will initialize passport and let it manage authentication in our app. So for that reason, we will write a middleware for the passport dot initialize, and the second one will be app dot use passport dot session. So the first line here initializes passport and the second line makes sure it integrates with Express session so users can stay logged in as they browse our site. At this point, we need Google OAuth credentials to connect our app to Google. So let's set up that. For that, we need to go inside the browser and type Google console. Now click on this link console.cloud.google.com and go inside this link. Now we need to create our project, new project, okay? And create, for instance, let's create it my project and create it. So it's creating the project. Go inside this project and you will see here in the navigation menu near Google Cloud, click on this navigation menu and click inside APIs and services and come in the enabled APIs and services folder. Now we'll see OAuth consent screen here. Just click on this. Now inside that we need to do some configuration. We have to choose user type. It may be internal or external. We will choose a external as we want anyone can log in with Google. So let's create it. We have to give the app name, which is my project I'm creating here. We have to create the email ID here. You can give the app logo, app domain, but for now I'm just letting it be as it is and giving the email and just save and continue. After that, we come inside the scopes. We need to add the scopes. What we need, like email, profile. So let's add the scope. Here we need OpenID, profile and email. Just update it and save and continue. Now we don't need any test users, so let it be as it is. Save and continue. So this is, now we have to go inside the credentials and we have to create our OAuth client ID. We have to type application type as we are getting web application. So let's take web application. Now let's take the name of it, web client 1 or web client 2.0. I think you want to be. Now you have to give the authorized redirect URL. When person comes to Google to get authentication, they have to be, after checking that everything is secure, okay, then where they have to redirect, we have to give the callback URL. So here let's give the callback URL http://localhost colon 3000/auth/google/callback. So this will be our callback URL. So let's create it. Now we will get the client ID and client secret, and this we will use in our application. So let's go inside our application, and inside the .env file we have to create Google client ID, and we have to take this credentials. Client ID, copy from here, paste it here. The second is Google client secret. Okay. Now again copy the Google client secret from here and again paste it here. Now we get our credentials and we will use in this applications. So now we will configure Google strategy in Passport to use credential we just added. So for that purpose, we have to use the Passport middleware, new Google strategy. Inside this, we will pass the client ID and we will pass from env file. So for that reason, we have to write process.env dot what we had written here. It should be the same name as it is, because otherwise it creates error. So we have to copy from here and paste it here. Now we need client secret. Again process.env dot, again we have to copy the name of it and we have to take the callback URL. So here we have to pass the same callback URL which we already passed in the Google console. Let's type http://localhost:/auth/google/callback. This was the actual callback URL we are passing there. So now we have to create a done function. So for that, we have to pass our access tokens, and then this will refresh the token. Then it will reach to profile and it's done. Okay. And we pass this inside this callback function. We return that when done, you have to go to profile. Okay. So here we are passing user's profile data to the done function. Okay. So if I explain it, here we are passing the client ID, client secret from our .env file and defining the callback URL. The callback function receives the user's Google profile, and for now we are just passing it along. In a real app, you had probably saved this to database, but here we are just passing along, okay? Because we are not using here any databases. So next we need to tell Passport how to serialize and deserialize users. This is necessary for session management. So let me explain you. Serialize means saving the user's data inside the session. Deserialize means retrieving the user data when needed. So let's write it. Passport.serialize user, and it will pass user and done arguments, and inside this callback function we will pass null user to save the user data. Now passport.deserialization, which then want to retrieve the data. So user dot comma done, these are the argument, and inside this callback function we again done that, yeah, we can retrieve the user data. So let's define some basic routes to handle login and display user information. The most important configuration is done. Now the only left thing is to write the endpoints. So let's write app.get. Inside the root route, we have to pass the arguments inside the callback function request comma response, and we will send back to client a string, or we can call it a link, that login to user to this. Actually we will pass it inside the anchor tag, and let's type in strings. So here we have to type login with Google, and in which path it will go when user click on login with Google. It will go to /auth/Google. So we need to create the path /auth/Google. So let's, now we have to write the endpoint app.get /auth/Google, and we will pass inside the passport.authenticate. It will authenticate through Google. Okay, and it needs to pass the scope. So here the scope will be, we are taking two scopes. The first is profile and the second is email. Okay, so let's save it. So this route redirects the user to Google for login. Okay, the information we want to retrieve from Google, in this case the user's profile and email. Once the user logs in successfully, Google will redirect them back to our app using the callback URL. So we need to define the callback URL. So let's create the another endpoint app.get /auth/Google/callback. and the password will authenticate it through Google, as we are authenticating through Google, and it will check for if the failure occurs, it will redirect it to home page, the root route. Okay, and we are creating a callback function inside which we are passing request and response. So this callback function will display, actually this will redirect to profile route. See, if the route is not successful, like if the authentication is not successful, it failures, then it will go to the slash route where we get the link login with Google. And if it passes successfully, then it will go to slash profile route. So we need to again define the profile route for this. App.get slash profile. Okay, and we will pass the request comma response as the argument inside the callback function, and will send back what we want to send, welcome. We want a dynamic name because we don't want static name. We want the name come from the username through which the user actually authenticate through the Google. So let's write request.user.display name. We can fetch this through this one. Okay. Now as the profile is created, it will checks out if the user is logged in using the authenticated method. If they are not logged in, they are redirected to home page. If they are authenticated, we display their Google profile information such as their name. Here I am displaying their name. So final, we have to add a logout route because we also want to log out. So let's create the logout route. Slash logout and send request comma res, and we request if a request is about to log out. Okay, if the request is about to log out. So what is doing? Passport provides this method, okay, to log out users. So we will use, if the request is to log out, then we will response with the, we will redirect it to where will it, to the root route, to the home page. So now we have to just create app.listen at port 3000. Inside the callback function, we are passing the message in console screen that server is running at port 3000. So for now, everything is set up and we need to run this application. So for that purpose, inside the terminal, we have to write node index.js. It's saying server is running at port 3000. So let's go in localhost 3000, and now we are seeing the link login with Google. So from where login with Google comes? It comes from the root route. We are inside the localhost 3000. So it is the root route. So we are getting login with Google. So when we click on this link, okay, just see what is happening. When we click on this link, we are redirected here to the Google to authenticate. When we click on this, so it's asking for the authentication. Let's continue it. It's doing the authentication through the passport. Here is some issue because it's not showing our name here, which we want. Let's see in the code what mistakes we have done. So it is the profile. Oh, I missed the dollar sign. It is the syntax. Let's save it and again run the server node index.js. So let's again go to the localhost 3000 and log in with Google. Now we see welcome tutorial because the tutorial is the username of my email ID. So it shows the welcome tutorial. So if we want to log out it, let's go to the logout URL. And when we click enter, we are log out from the, actually we are log out from the, it's saying request hash request a callback function. We have to create a request dot log out and we need to create a callback function. Inside that callback function, I have to declare this. That's the issue we are facing here, and let's do this. Now let's run our application again. Node index.js. So these are the basic mistakes you will see when you work on this. So again login with and just I want to log out. Now you are log out from this. So we get logged out from this. And that's it. You have just added Google OAuth2 Login to your Node.js app using Passport.js. Now users can log in securely with Google accounts. If you found this tutorial helpful, don't forget to like and subscribe for more tutorials like this. Thank you for watching.